Welcome to episode 22 of Scorned by Muses. Cash rules everything around me. Usually in this series, we tend to talk about works of art as objects with aesthetic value. Yet artworks are also commodities. They have monetary value. So in this episode, we're going to talk about money. And we're going to start by looking at the art of the most conventionally successful artist that I know personally. Austin Martin White is a painter represented by the blue-chip gallery Petzel, which is based in New York City's Chelsea neighborhood. Petzel's roster includes big artists like Seth Price, Stephen Prina, Charlene von Heil, and even canonically important dead artists like Asger Jorn. This is among the top tier of the art world when it comes to money and institutional respect. How much does an artist that shows at one of these top-tier galleries make? Later in the episode, we're going to visit Austin in Philadelphia to talk about his finances. We'll also come back to New York to review Olivia Van Kuiken's show at Matthew Brown.
Gotta say, this one kind of feels like high school art.
And we'll talk about how the price of her work has increased about 7-fold over the past 3 years. And lastly, we spend some of our own money and buy a painting. But first, we're going to stop by Petzel to have a look at Austin's show. We did stop by at the opening, but we're going back to have a better look.
Cash moves everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
You know what I mean, though? It was like there's something really glamorous about it at the opening.
Yeah.
And there was all these people. People were kind of dressed up a little bit. It was the first big open weekend of the season in September in Chelsea, and I was like, I don't know, it felt very sexy then or something. Kind of like the dramatic rock formations better than these pastoral forest scenes. You can tell he's trying to play with the urge to just want to make a beautiful image, right? The urge to want to make just not even a beautiful image, but like a striking image. But the rest of them, you can kind of see the frame, or when you can't see the frame, he's including a black border around it to kind of reinforce the image, to kind of self-consciously nod to, okay, I'm doing a painting, I recognize that. I recognize that I can't just straightforwardly make these images. And so I have to nod to their existence as painting in a self-referential way, like with this one or with these. I can see his internal struggle with these a bit, you know what I mean? But the ones that are more immediately satisfying are the ones that are more straightforward and less tortured. The thing that I don't like about them is they're impressive from afar. Obviously the scale is massive, they're huge, but the detail of the way that they're made, they don't feel well made. You miss the feeling of the painter's hand, which is what you want to feel when you stand close to it. You want to feel the painter's hand. The screens are buckling a little bit, and it just has this feeling of something that wasn't made that well structurally. And if I'm gonna buy a luxury good, which is essentially what these are, I want my luxury goods to be nicely made. It's kind of like if you go into a fashion boutique and you see a kind of interesting garment that's flashy and looks interesting, but then you start to kind of inspect the seams and inspect the quality of the garment and the way that it was constructed, and it kind of feels a little cheap and flimsy, like some shit you just could have bought at Uniqlo, and you're like, is this worth the price tag on this? And I would imagine, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes right now of someone who would come in here and actually have the means to be able to purchase one of these works. And what I imagine someone feels is pretty similar to the kind of thing that you feel when you go into a clothing store and you try on this item, and when you put the item on and you kind of walk around, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I look good. I could be a whole new person. And I imagine that people who buy art have a similar sense when they walk into some place and they're like, oh, this painting, right? This painting, if I buy this painting, if I own this painting, I will own some of the spiritual power that's contained within this painting, and that spiritual power will uplift me as a human being, and I will be happier and more prosperous and more handsome, and more people will want to have sex with me and whatever, you know? Because everybody has had that experience of like buying something or looking at something that you want to buy and imagining that all my problems will be solved with this purchase. Then of course you purchase the thing and it's nice and shiny and fun to play with for a week or two, and then your life goes back to being just as shitty as it always was. And then you find some new thing to buy. Paintings in general, art in general, in 2025, for the most part, is just a thing which plays that role for rich people. It might have pretenses to something more grand than that, but at the end of the day, it is just the thing which gives rich people that feeling. And probably if I went to somebody's house and they had a house, one, if they had a house big enough to have this on their wall, and two, if they had this on their wall, I probably would think they were cool. You know? So they're right, in a way.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Now that we've seen and talked about the art, we're going to head down to Philadelphia, where the artist lives and works. You can watch the full episode on Patreon, but here's a sneak peek.
I mean, I know I've been hearing a lot about how bad the market is right now.
Oh yeah.
Do you think how much do these sell for? There's a formula. Well, he seems like a little bit miserable. These paintings are paintings of art. These paintings were made for boomers with big houses in the Hamptons.
I then emailed Matthew Brown to see if any of the works from Liv's new show were available. I was not surprised to see this awkward painting of someone's ass still up for grabs.
Not like it's gonna go up in value, but I don't think it'll go down in value.
I had never bought a painting before, so I felt awkward during the interaction with the gallerist. Now that I have the paintings, the only thing left to do is to hang them.